sports fans? Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the table. Sign up at BetUS.com today to get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
And now, broadcasting live from Las Vegas, the Snake Sports Talk Show with Jake Silva starts now.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I am super excited and stoked on a Monday because the NFL has just gone completely bonkers up on week one. Lots of surprises, lots of disappointment. We're going to get to all of that here on the Snake Sports Talk Show live from Denver, wherever and however you may be watching and listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. Chase joining me. Lots to talk about. Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and then tonight's game between Minnesota and Chicago. I got a lot of quality quarterback play this weekend. I don't know about you, how you saw it, but there was a lot I got out of it from some teams, and only 3 that disappointed me, but we'll get into that in just a moment.
Yeah, no, I'd say the most shocking game was last night's game. I actually had to go to bed early for work and everything, and so, I went to bed thinking that game was over, and then all of a sudden, I wake up and I'm like, what the hell did I miss?
So let's talk about that, because this was the classic showdown between both these quarterbacks. So, okay. First of all, the few things I take away from this game is Buffalo and Baltimore's defense. Buffalo's defense did not look clean and crisp from the first half. Okay, you watch a twitchy Lamar Jackson completing throws, moving around the pocket, and he's doing exactly whatever he wanted. And the same thing that you look at with Derrick Henry. One of my big things that I looked at was just how good Josh Allen could overcome a lot of these adversities. My problem, though, however, is Buffalo, like they've been in the past, continue to just put the cape on Josh Allen to bail him out of games. And so I watched a tale from Baltimore's defense, and I thought they played well all up until that whole drive that they scored 16 unanswered points. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, just like last year in the playoffs, these two are perennial talented quarterbacks that you hope one of these guys can beat Mahomes and make it into a Super Bowl appearance. That's what we look at with all that. The only one who has done that has been Joe Burrow. That's the only one who got past Mahomes. After that, all these quarterbacks are continuing to fight through it. So I just look at this game for a few reasons. First of all, stop blaming this game on Lamar. It's not Lamar's fault that the defense coughed up 16 unanswered points and they completely shelled themselves in the game. It's not his fault that Derrick Henry had a costly fumble in a position they shouldn't have even been in. Like you keep blowing away the fact these situations are true. Okay. And then when it comes to Buffalo, this is why Sean McDermott continues to be up and on the hot seats at times, because Buffalo's defense got cooked. I mean, what was it? 25 or something like that. And Josh Allen doing what Josh Allen did best, puts the team on his back. And the few things is Joshua Palmer looked good. Khalil Shakir looked good, but Keon Coleman actually looked pretty decent. And then there was, James Cook gets his rushing touchdown. But in the end, it just seemed like it's all Josh Allen reliant every single time. He has to be the one to come back in this game, get the Bills back up on top when a defense with a defensive-minded coach in Sean McDermott continues to just fold with their defense. That was not a good defense last night. And neither, I get it, with Baltimore, they made a couple mistakes. They could not pivot. So if you want to blame Lamar, you ain't watching the game. Because Lamar, to me, fights every single position he's in. And yet again, somebody is bound to fold. Was it just like last year in the playoffs where you're blaming it all up on Lamar because Mark Andrews dropped the ball? Are you blaming it on Lamar because unfortunately, they got into a position they shouldn't have? They coughed up the ball and it turned into a turnover. I'm tired of hearing this. So that's the part that really, I had to get clarity on. Both these quarterbacks are highly talented, perennial quarterbacks in the AFC, which is unfortunate because you're playing against Patrick Mahomes in your conference. And the AFC, and I'll get to that in a bit, is getting competitive, quality quarterback play in the AFC. All that I watched this weekend, it was just insanity. So, again, Josh continuing to put the cape on his back, basically bails out Buffalo, and the Bills end up taking it away up at home. But I'm not ripping Lamar. Neither am I ripping Josh Allen either. It came from coaching. It came from defensive play and adjustments and pivots. That's what really changed the outcome of the game. Okay, I know Chase was thinking about me Friday after watching this game up in Brazil. And by the way, if you haven't seen the views from that single game alone on YouTube, go look at it. It was 17.7 million on YouTube that all tuned in. Okay, and we all basically have our shows up on YouTube all the time. There are people that do watch parties, all that other stuff. So it was kind of difficult. I get it. But that game on Friday night basically told you an alarming and cautionary tale that the Kansas City Chiefs really have to look at, is because they cannot continue to win these one-score games. They got to stop flirting with that. Now, Xavier Worthy goes down upon injury, and from what I'm told, it looks to be day-to-day. It's not going to be several weeks. Who knows? But the Chiefs in that entire game, what you noticed was the red zone offense was not great. I don't know what it was about Matt Nagy's red zone play calling, but it was atrocious. They couldn't even score majority of the points. And Harrison Butker misses that PAT. So that becomes costly. But what defined the moment? What defined the moment more than anything is Justin Herbert doing his thing. Because Jim Harbaugh knows exactly how to unlock quarterbacks. And at the same time, gives them a winning culture and a type of mentality that is fitted for them to be franchise quarterbacks. I'm sick of the complete disrespect of a quarterback that you do not hear a whole lot in media. But now he's being featured up in some medias because he's dating Madison Beer. Good for him. But the thing is, Justin hears everything. He hears guys like Chase and I. He hears the radio. He hears television media. He knows what's going on. But the thing about Justin is he was able to overcome a lot of those things that people said he couldn't. And what it proved, by the way, Keenan Allen, at his age, and with 6 of the 7 receptions from Keenan Allen last night were decided upon third down conversions or a touchdown. At his age, and people think he's washed. Yeah, nice try. Keenan Allen still got his hands. He still has his feet. And then how about Quentin Johnston? The routes Quentin Johnston ran, and then not to mention, did he steal away CeeDee Lamb's hands? Like he finally could catch a ball. He's proving everybody wrong. The Chargers are putting the Chiefs up on blast for a few reasons. And all they did was they just pissed off the bull. That's all they did. and on a neutral field, neutral site, and it was a 0-0 game for both of them. But Justin, what really defined the moment was him taking the ball in his hands on a 3rd and 15 with no timeouts for Kansas City and converted the first down. The Chiefs right now are basically on notice. Chargers are getting better. I know Broncos offense was rough yesterday, but that defense looks legit. The Raiders finally have a grown-up at head coach. They finally have a grown-up. They're not all the way there yet, but I could feel the Raiders kind of play spoilers to some teams. The fact of the matter is that when you put weapons and a competent winning coach in front of a quarterback who's dealt with so many different adversities, that's what you get. You get a composed, competent, and confident quarterback that is willing to take the ball and get the first down, which many of you think that he cannot win in clutch moments. He can't do this and he can't do that. He just proved to everybody. And he stunted up on television, which was funny because then it let everybody know, oh, damn, Justin's on a different level. But the fact of the matter is, Charger fans can feel very happy about this win. But all it did was it pissed off the Bulls in Kansas City because Kelsey gets smacked in the face by Tier Tart, which everybody was all like, the media was, they were undefeated with that. Xavier Worthy goes down on an injury. Red zone offense was completely atrocious. And then not to mention, too, that Chris Jones sell was beautiful by the Chargers. They completely baited Chris Jones. And that would have got Patrick Mahomes back on the field. And Patrick, by the way, had an outstanding game. It was insane. But the problem was that the Chiefs, in some of those situations, they could not capitalize. Neither could they get key stops. So that was what was the takeaway up from there. But all I'm saying is that all it takes is trust, and it takes time to build and adjust and refine certain skill sets. And this right there, Friday night, was what you got out of Justin Herbert. And look at the weapons. Everybody all checked in, and they all clocked in and did their work. Charger fans got to be feeling very amped up about this. But that's exactly what I saw from here. Good stuff. Chase, I know you weren't happy with, well, you could kind of pretty good. The defense actually played well for Cleveland.
Yeah.
Ultimately, what I got out of that, and we'll talk a little bit more about all these games, but Cincinnati's offense wasn't quite clicking.
Hell no, they had 7 yards in the second half.
That's what I'm saying. And I was just like, what in the world is going on here? Because, I mean, granted, Myles Garrett is going to do Myles Garrett things. But in the end, you talk about an improved defense, but the offense couldn't quite click at the right times. That's what's harder. So I just think for a lot of these teams, we'll get to the point of 3 teams that sorely disappointed me this weekend. But I felt like we got some pretty good ones. Division rival games were great. And I thought quarterback play, especially in the AFC, really looked good this week.
Yeah, and I think that not having Worthy and not having Rice really screwed up Mahomes and everything, and like the Chiefs, because them not having those 2 of their best weapons and everything is going to hurt them down the long run. I mean, obviously they're getting Rice back after week 6 and everything, and Worthy's probably week to week, but I want to see what they can do with Jalen Royals as well and having him there and stuff too. But the thing is, like, this whole Lamar Jackson and Baltimore Ravens thing, like, when are we going to stop having the narrative that, Lamar is, as good as what everybody says he is? Like, yeah, it's the team around him that's kind of giving up and losing and stuff like that. But, we've seen time and time again where he's had all the chances in the world to make it to the AFC Championship, to make it past the AFC Championship, and he just couldn't do it. I mean, yesterday was a valiant reason why Josh Allen is a better quarterback than what Lamar Jackson.
Well, I do think that again, both these quarterbacks are very perennial. Like that's why the 2 through 4 spots when it comes to top 5 quarterbacks is interchangeable because they all possess something that not a lot of quarterbacks do. Because Lamar, let's be honest, he's twitchy. He can move, and I think since Todd Monken became the OC, he's thrown the ball a lot better than most people anticipated. It's a lot better, but the problem is I think in close games like that, it comes down to the wire. That's what we got last year. I mean, in the playoffs, I know that the turnover was one thing, but you came back in situations to where that Mark Andrews drop shouldn't have happened. That Derrick Henry fumble should have never happened. And the 16 unanswered points on defense should have never happened. The Ravens, I feel, will be fine. But it's going to be situations like that. And mind you, could this possibly be a situation in which we really have to be honest about John Harbaugh? Because some of this could be you get in positions where you're so close and then you pull back. I don't know what it is. And a lot of Ravens fans are confused by it.
I think if Lamar really wants to win a Super Bowl, he needs to go to a different team. Like he needs to go to another team, like one that is going to put him in the best successful chance to win. Because being in the AFC, going up against Mahomes and Allen every year, and hell, even Burrow, and then not to mention having a team that collapses in the second half of games or in the playoffs alone, you're not going to win. You are not going to win. You're not going to do anything. You need to go to a team like the Minnesota Vikings or something that is going to give you a great opportunity to be successful and win.
Well, I think outside of Carolina, the Giants, which I'll get to them, but there were definitely some NFC teams that can be competitive because knowing Lamar, I mean, his record against the NFC is outrageous. He only has 3 losses in that conference. So I just feel that, I mean, I think both coaches were kind of put on notice there, McDermott and John Harbaugh, because
I mean, McDermott came out with the win. So
he came out with the win, but that defense was cooked in the first in that first half. If it wasn't for the pivot that they needed in that game at the end, then we would be talking like, dude, Sean McDermott's a defensive coach and you can't figure out defense.
I mean, maybe he's not the one calling defensive plays anymore. I think he gave that up like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I just don't know.
I think he gave that up 3 years ago, and he's been like just focusing on being a head coach and stuff. And like, you know, ever since he took over this team back in 2017 and everything, you know, they had the 1 year without Josh Allen and everything where they were like, and then they had like the 2018 season where they won 9 games. But then every time after that, it's been very successful for them, and they've won like 10 to 14 games a season and everything. And it's insane to think about. But, you know, right now, I do think that Lamar is definitely top 5, but he's more towards that like 4 or 5 range than what he was the 1 or 2 range. Because like, you know, until he can sit there and close games out and win, you know, when it matters most and everything. Obviously, Josh Allen has had a hard time making it to the AFC Championship and beyond that. And everything. Like, don't get me wrong. The only one actively that's been able to do it now is Joe Burrow.
Yes.
But, you know, it's safe to say that, you know, Allen has 1 MVP, Lamar has 2, Burrow has none, but Burrow has a Super Bowl appearance compared to Allen and Lamar. And the thing that Burrow has over Lamar and Allen is the fact that he was able to do it with the worst offensive line in the league, with having a 25th ranked defense that year, and going basically off of his own arm and his own back and everything. And I think that Josh Allen has kind of cemented himself in that part where he's just like, I'm like, hold my beer and watch this. I'm going to do it by myself.
Right. And I mean, that's kind of the whole deal. But yeah, it is interesting to really kind of see it. But again, it just takes time for this. So we'll see.
I don't think Lamar's ever going to make it to a Super Bowl, let alone win one.
Well, the thing is that we have so many years, so that's why we'll kind of hold our breaths for this. But yeah, something has to eventually change. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, but man, we are on fire with a lot of these triple play prop bets because man, we were on fire in the in last night's game, and I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic, but got a lot to discuss up on it. But for those of you who are trying to play prop bets that we do every Thursday, we had a good one up Friday, and then Sunday and Monday nights. But now Thursday and Sunday and Monday nights now. Check out our triple play prop bet that we have going on, and thanks to our partners at Payday Fantasy, guys, because these triple plays have been up and on fire. I definitely scored last night in that game against Baltimore and Buffalo, and so you can get a chance to score up on daily fantasy contests that are going on right now with your pick 'em plays. Pick the player, pick the outcome, depending on the average that they give you on the line, and get paid with Payday Fantasy. Risk-free, lots of fun. Play it with your friends, coworkers, many, to get you paid and experience what Payday Fantasy is all about. And right now, because when you sign up and you use promo code SNAKE, you will get 100% deposit match bonus to $100. Okay? So each time you end up betting up, and with the $100, 100% deposit bonus match. That's by using the code SNAKE in the description. Give Payday Fantasy a try for yourselves and get paid. Play, pick, and get paid with Payday Fantasy.
Want to find your seat for the event of your choice but can't get one that fits your desire or your budget? Well, my friends, SeatGeek has you covered. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Snake Sports Talk Show. With a list of over hundreds of events to choose from, SeatGeek will assure you that you won't miss your seat with the amazing view of your choice at the most affordable price. Whether it's looking for your best seat in the house of your favorite sports team, finding live concerts that get you closer to your favorite artist, or enjoying your spot at your favorite live shows, comedies, and more, SeatGeek has it all just for you. Go online to SeatGeek.com or download the app on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. And as a special offer before checkout, use promo code SNAKESPORTS and save yourself $20 off of your purchase of your first ticket, and experience why SeatGeek is the most trusted ticketing app for your next event. Remember, that's SeatGeek.com, and download the app on your phone with promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off and find your seat with SeatGeek.
Looking for a show with the best takes and opinions? Want a show with the best coverage around the world of sports? Jam-packed with an all-star interview lineup? Then the best place to find it all, sports and entertainment, is right here. Join Jake Silva on the Snake Sports Talk Show, presented by SeatGeek and BetUS. Weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on Sports Wave Network.
So, lots of action all throughout Sunday's slates from the morning and into the afternoon. I can admit I'm pretty much more of a morning person whenever it comes to some of these bet lines. It's crazy. But the only thing that I really want to be honest on is I said this weeks ago on this show, and Miami is proving every bit who they really are. And I was sorely disappointed. That's one of 3 teams that I was really disappointed with this weekend, because I thought, like, with Miami, and I didn't even take them to win. I chose the Colts. But my big thing is that Miami had no standing chance at all. The Dolphins is what I predicted them to be when the season started, is they would be the Lamborghini of the NFL with barely any traction on the tires, especially when you're going up against rough terrains, like off the grid, off-road, and even if you go into inclement weather like rain and snow. They are not tough, and I think it sucks. And Miami right now, and it just goes to show you, you could love the speed all you want, but if you're not physical and you're not geared up to be one-on-one, especially against a Midwest team in Indianapolis, and you're up there in Lucas Oil, and you literally got pounded. By the way, Daniel Jones, boy, did he look different in that game. Like, he's throwing the ball efficiently. Shane Steichen is trusting him on certain things. And the other thing about it is that Jonathan Taylor really ran the football efficiently. And that's important because the Colts, Chase and I talked about this, about the Colts. They have such a good, they have such a very talented roster from top to bottom, offense and defense. The problem of it is they did not have the franchise quarterback since Andrew Luck retired. Now, I'm not saying Daniel Jones is the answer, but you look at how efficient the offense looks like when you have somebody who's competent. Jonathan Taylor runs differently. You got Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, A.D. Mitchell. You have you got the young kid, Tyler Warren from Penn State. You got so many different options, and it looks flawless with them. Defensively, Laiatu, the kid out of UCLA, comes away with a pick against Tua. But Tua got sacked. He got mauled. And the Dolphins just completely abysmal. And it was time to start being honest about Mike McDaniel and Chris Grier. These two are eventually going to get fired if this does not go right. Because Miami right now is just the sports car, and it's just getting crashed. The tires are getting flat, and they're not even built for a lot of these tough terrains like where I am in Colorado. And even with Ohio, it's not even built for that. So Miami, you can have the beach season and bikini season 24/7 all you want. But that looked bad. And it's not even that, it's not even terrible, okay, they made some plays. No, that was bad. That was downright bad. Dumpster, garbage, I don't care what you call it. It was bad. Tua was completely under duress. And like I told everybody, is that when it came to the offensive line and Teron Armstead retiring, that made a difference. The offensive line's getting mauled. They're not protecting Tua, and neither is the run game being efficient. So that's the part that really bothered me about Miami, and it's just as I had predicted. So the Dolphins, I don't see them being a threat in the AFC, and I don't even know if this is solvable, but that was completely and utterly just embarrassing. And to be honest with you, I think Mike McDaniel and Chris Grier will be out of a job because Chris Grier, it's all about speed and no physicality. But Mike McDaniel's not a culture coach like Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Andy Reid, a lot of these other coaches in the league. He's not a culture coach. That's the problem. And so Mike McDaniel's going to have a lot of leverage against him. He's got none. So all the cards are going to be stacked against him. It's just, it is what it is. But Miami just needs something different. And this is why that I mentioned what's wrong with bringing somebody like Mike McCarthy in this organization. What is wrong with that? Experience can turn some things around. All you need is consistency. I watched the Raiders this weekend. Look at how good they are with the grown-up running things. It's different. That's all that you need. And Miami is just completely atrocious. Chasing the news.
And now,
Here we go. Hey everyone, it's story time. This is the hot press.
I was just trying to figure out, without using any explicitives on the show, to express to you how horrid Miami literally looked like against Indianapolis. But
hey, let's keep it going, dude, because we play Miami this year, so let's keep them.
Hey, how about Daniel Jones? I mean, New York media's losing their minds after what happened in New York, but Daniel Jones looked a lot better than I thought.
See what happens when you actually give him weapons to work with?
I think, look what happens when you actually give him in an environment which would allow someone like Shane Steichen to really use his stuff. That was good.
Or when you give him a functional O-line,
yep,
a decent wide receiver one, a
yep,
top-tier running back, and
yep,
then a defense that can actually do something.
I agree.
Like, oh my gosh, and a tight end that can catch. Like, who would have thought that would have actually helped him a lot? No, like the freaking Giants GM, when Dave Gettleman was there, was like,
yeah,
let's go ahead and draft Kadarius freaking Toney, and then we'll also go ahead and go over here and focus nothing but defense instead of drafting O-line, drafting wide receivers, doing this, doing that. Like,
well, we'll definitely talk about the Giants.
Amazing.
We'll definitely talk about the Giants, but we definitely got to get into this full slate we saw this weekend.
Dude, some news that we've got this week is we've got a few injuries that have happened already. Lighting up the news boards, we've got Brock Purdy possibly out this next week with the shoulder injury.
Yep.
And then we've got George Kittle, who's going to be out multiple weeks with a hamstring injury. They're looking at maybe 2 to 3, possibly 4 weeks, depending on the severity of the hamstring strain that they have. So if you have George Kittle in your fantasy roster, make sure you put him on IR for the next few weeks.
By the way, what a competitive game from San Francisco this weekend. I thought that was a very good one against Seattle. I mean, they both were playing against really good defenses, but I got to give props to Brock Purdy. I mean, Ricky Pearsall coming up in a situation that he did, and they just signed Kendrick Bourne, actually, too, not too long ago. So they got another receiver. They knew that they were going to need somebody up and in there, but I think it kind of narrows down a little of what we wanted and expected out of Brock Purdy, and that actually looked pretty good. But I do give kudos because Robert Saleh is that good of a DC. This is why San Francisco brought him back, because if you look at the depth chart from defense, after all those players they lost in free agency, there was nobody better that can handle that kind of adversity than Robert Saleh, because he could turn those guys into 1A, 1B defensive players. That's why I think, it made a lot of sense. So I thought that was actually a pretty good game from the two of them. And a division rival like that, Seattle, I think, has to clean up some things on offense, because there were some of them that, like, guys are just flying around on the field. But, I mean, JSN was pretty good. But I do think, I will say this will be a pretty fun, underrated division rival matchup when they face off the next time around.
Oh, for sure. It's 100% going to be a great division matchup and everything. But, let's get into a game that a lot of people anticipated for, and that was the Green Bay Packers and Detroit Lions. We had seen Micah Parsons get his first sack of the game, but we also seen how detrimental it is to lose not only your defensive coordinator, but your offensive coordinator that was a big focal point to how that team was ran. We went and saw a Lions team that had one of the top 5 offenses last year, and went 15-2 to having a offense that was just had no identity and was just like, what the hell is going on? And this goes to show you that what I told people is you are going to miss Ben Johnson, and it was very, very prevalent yesterday.
Well, here's the thing. My big takeaway up and out of that game, that Green Bay team is really legit. Like, you got Jordan Love, who I thought looked really good with him and Jaden Reed. Micah Parsons. You know what's funny is once Micah got to Green Bay, have you noticed a lot of those Green Bay players on defense really looked outstanding when he's in the same side of the field with them? Yep. Micah just brings that, energetic and hyper-aggressive defense, especially those pressures. So he comes up and he's making Jared Goff uncomfortable. Now, here's the thing. There were some throws that I did see that were actually pretty good. I mean, that Isaac Tesla catch was ridiculous. But I don't know if you've noticed it. Have you noticed the play call kind of got conservative at times? Because the amount of times they were throwing like 5 yards or less, they were completing them. But when it came to the 8 yards or above, not the same. I don't think they got the same creativity the minute that Ben Johnson leaves the building. So
exactly.
And by the way, Penei Sewell really got pushed around. I don't even know what happened with him.
He was one of the best tackles in the league too, and it's going to show you that you put a great defensive player up against him, and he folds.
And here's the thing: they lost. They lost Frank Ragnow. He retires.
Yeah.
They cut Dan Skipper. So this offensive line. I don't want to fully give up on the Lions, but this team is definitely penetrable. Like they have lost a bunch of stuff. So I don't know. But I do believe this. You'll see my top 10 tomorrow when I post it up on social media because, man, Green Bay just really looked like that team. They look good.
Yeah, they definitely did. And finally, back to the topic of kickers and everything. Ever since 2015, the kicking percentage for the NFL has gone down to 50% of the kickers making their kicks. They have had an influx of kickers missing extra points and field goals over the past 10 years than what they've had in the entire NFL combined. And it's just insane to see because not only did Cleveland miss an extra point and a field goal, you had the Falcons kicker do one. You had the Jets kicker miss one. And the thing that I have to say about it is, these guys have been doing kicking their entire lives. They go through high school, they go through college, and they go through the NFL, and all they do is kick. And, what kind of bugs me is Pat McAfee pulling these kids, these random strangers, to make a kick for $200,000 at 35 yards. And you got some NFL kickers that can't even do this. And the thing that kind of irritates me is that these kids that he pulls off to the side have never kicked a football in their entire life and can make it. But the one position on the field that is your NFL job that you've been doing since high school, you've been doing it in college, you've had time to practice, you've had time to work on it. You got a stranger out here making 35-yarders, but you can't have an NFL kicker make a 35-yard field goal. Make that make sense.
Yeah, and you know what? We watched Chris Boswell make a 60-yarder for Pittsburgh this weekend, and then we watched Brandon Aubrey, do what he does. And by the way, Jake Moody actually made a field goal. Did you know that? Yeah, that was good for Jake.
And the Browns kicker made a 43-yarder, but can't make a 34-yarder.
Well, but I think that, as long as I can remember when it came to kickers, I grew up at the time where we had Nate Kading, Robbie Gould, we had Adam Vinatieri, we had Stephen Gostkowski. We had so many really good ones. Yeah, you had Mason Crosby, and then you had Chris Boswell. So there were a long list. Yeah, and still having the leg that he does. But I just think like quarterbacks, right? We go through a full wave where they're not just overly talented, but they are very important to certain game situations because you are going to need that. So, kickers, if people don't think kickers go through pressures, you're damn wrong. They do. Because they have to perfect making it in the uprights. Otherwise, you're going to be otherwise, you're going to have moments of where you got Blair Walsh and Cody Parkey's.
Is so stupid because here's the thing. Offensive linemen have to deal with learning protections, learning what hole you're going to go up and block in, learning what receivers have to know the route combinations for the X, Y, and Z position. Corners have to be able to read the wide receiver steps and jump in on the ball. They have to be able to deflect it. They have to work on not making contact with the guy beyond that. Kickers, their only thing that they are focusing on is kicking a damn ball. Like, there is nothing else that they have to worry about other than, I'm going to go out here, I am going to put it through these uprights, and I am going to make this kick. It's not like they have to, hold on, I'm going to run 10 yards, make a slant route, and then come up and kick it. Like, that argument is so invalid when it comes to that. It's so ridiculous because you've got quarterbacks, DBs, linemen who have to worry about multiple things a game, and the kicker's the one thing that he is paid to do and that he has to do is make a kick, and you can't even do that correctly. And it's deciding people's livelihoods. People are getting death threats from this. People are losing games for this. Like the Browns, for example. That's just one example, but they had 4 games last year that were decided on a kick. 4 separate occasions. The Browns could go from winning 3 games to winning 7 if you make those kicks. It's insane.
Yeah, and again, that's just all the takeaway. That's just how, again, people that don't realize, like, just the lives that these kickers really do, like, what they really do undergo. I mean, Adam Vinatieri was so important to both the Patriots and the Colts. And again, when they're up in, I realize sometimes too, even when it comes to some of these kickers, I mean, when they get into the tail end of their age, that sometimes tendencies do tend to happen. But again, it's like a maestro trying to perfect the arting of, like, the music tones, because again, he's up there managing and controlling every single tempo. That's what you're trying to do, is you're trying to get everything in unison. And it's a lot. Like, nobody realizes that. Like, you're trying to get everybody up in unison. The more and more that you do this, and it's not that simple than people think, because that's how perfection of music is made. Just ask a lot of these composers. I mean, it's a lot. You're spending hours and days just trying to, make it work. But yeah,
I don't know. Like, to me, like, I just think that it's a position where you have spent your entire life doing that.
But you know what, thing. Though? But here's the thing, though. It's usually always dependent on the angle in which you kick, which can determine that. Even if you got wind speeds, even if you got, like, inclement weathers, that can happen. But I mean, like every position you have to
get, like,
you master your craft. Yeah, you master your craft as best you can. That's just like every position that you play on the field. So it is
like, if you got wind coming from the east over here, and you're working on trying to kick towards the west, maybe you got to kick it a little bit more this way, and then you'll make it. Like, it's stuff that you practice and everything. But to sit here and say, like, oh well, they're still working on trying to perfect it. You've had your entire life to do it, because that's all you've had to do is just kick a field goal. You've had since high school to kick a.
Oh, look at some of these. So look at some of these soccer players. You've had soccer players who basically make more than you and I, and even with a lot of these other NFL players as well. I mean, you're overseas, so it's all overseas money, and they make a ton. Like, a lot of their endorsements and how they do all that, it's crazy.
I mean, they got soccer players on TikTok that are making field goals for football.
Because they're so used to because they're so used to similar trajectories.
Like, so it's ridiculous. Like, you got soccer players, college kids going to kick a 35-yard field goal for $200,000 and everything. If they could do it, an NFL kicker could easily do it.
Yeah.
That's my little spiel on that, because I did the math on it and everything, and the numbers have just gone crazy over the past 10 years on how many misses that they have and everything. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. Days of the news.
And now, here we go. Hey everyone, it's story time. This is the hot press.
Oh, I wanted to I wanted to take a moment before we go up on break because we have had an awful lot of quarterback play that was really, really well, especially in the AFC. If anybody watched the early windows, Pittsburgh and the Jets was actually fun to watch. We know that Aaron Rodgers coming into town in MetLife, facing against his former team that smelled blood and was ready to battle. The Jets were completely different. And what's the talk about all this is Justin Fields. How good did Justin Fields look like on the field yesterday? That was by far clean. I mean, he's slinging the ball. He looked a lot like his Ohio State self. And Chase can recall that. He looked very, very poised. I think a lot of that comes from, and it is different because you have a defensive coach, but a lot of that came from the thing in which Fields needed consistency. Now, they did get the pass game coordinator from the Lions, which really does change a lot of just the trajectory at the quarterback position alone. But I do think it is. I think it's fascinating just to see like a lot of these surprises because even with Justin Fields looking the way that he did, comfortable, not quite under pressure, and at the same time, they really they looked really good up on the offensive line. The offensive line was giving Pittsburgh fits. All up on defense, and you weren't sure how this was going to play out, but it was fantastic to watch. Both defenses were both playing their hearts out, and it is unfortunate to understanding, the defenses, there was some of that they whiffed on a few times, and then Aaron just being Aaron. But the Jets look better. And it will take time to just truthfully figure this thing out. But I am not, I really retract up some things that when it came down to Justin Fields, better, cleaner, better awareness. And I think that's all he needed. So Justin Fields looked good this weekend. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers, 4 touchdowns, no picks. And it's just what Aaron does. He's a perfectionist. But I'm not particularly happy too much about the Pittsburgh defense, only because I know what their front is, but they definitely got a couple injuries. But Jalen Ramsey did come away with a big-time stop that they knew they needed. So it really solidified a few things. We're going to take a quick break up from here, but coming up next, I do want to end up talking about what all of the explosion, all the noise that's happening up in New York right now after what we just saw from the Giants and Russell Wilson and what's going to happen with Brian Daboll. Well, folks, like we said, your one-stop shop for the best seats in the house all belongs to SeatGeek.com. Download it on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store for all of your needs. NFL season is here, and for your needs to get you the best seats in the house, repping your favorite team all season long. Also going into your favorite concert venues to following your favorite artists. And even art shows, comedy shows, many of them. SeatGeek has you covered for all of that. SeatGeek is the most reliant ticketing app for your next event, no matter where it is and what your interests are. By using promo code SNAKESPORTS today, because I'm going to a bunch of concerts this month. And I trust SeatGeek a lot, and I love my partners there. But when you use it, you get $20 off of your first purchase of your first ticket as a thank you for choosing SeatGeek and giving you the experience of a lifetime. Go on to SeatGeek.com, download it on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. It's SeatGeek.
Want to find your seat for the event of your choice but can't get one that fits your desire or your budget? Well, my friends, SeatGeek has you covered. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Snake Sports Talk Show. With a list of over hundreds of events to choose from, SeatGeek will assure you that you won't miss your seat with the amazing view of your choice at the most affordable price. Whether it's looking for your best seat in the house of your favorite sports team, finding live concerts that get you closer to your favorite artist, or enjoying your spot at your favorite live shows, comedies, and more, SeatGeek has it all just for you. Go online to SeatGeek.com or download the app on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. And as a special offer before checkout, use promo code SNAKESPORTS and save yourself $20 off of your purchase of your first ticket and experience why SeatGeek is the most trusted ticketing app for your next event. Remember, that's SeatGeek.com and download the app on your phone with promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off and find your seat with SeatGeek.
Listen up, sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the table. Sign up at BetUS.com today to get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
Good to have you all in. Snake Sports Talk Show. Appreciate everybody for joining on here up and onto the show. What a wildly eventful weekend we had. So I've already talked about the Miami Dolphins. And so between them and the Carolina Panthers were in fact the teams that I was very disappointed in. I thought Carolina's offense would have figured it out after last year, right up and into the tail end, and they didn't. They went right back to what they normally do, and they didn't even get creative at all. And Bryce Young, once more, is getting frantic in the pocket. I don't understand it. So there were so many of like the simple things in which he was completing. And that was after he came off the bench. And next thing you know, not a ton to work with. So the New York Giants, what a game that turned out to be. And it was such an embarrassment. In fact, I was listening up to their radio networks up in New York, and they're not happy. Sal and BT, they were completely they were just so disappointed. And you know, and this is what it comes down to. I have watched Russell Wilson basically be up on autopilot with a Seahawks team with Pete Carroll, who knows how to spot young talent and be a recruiter and get the best defense and win a Super Bowl and appear in 2 of them. And then I watched Russell Wilson come here to Denver to try to change the culture, because they didn't find their franchise quarterback since Peyton left. And by that point, Denver was already just having so many quarterback issues. Things were not looking sharp. And that, I think, is what was one of the biggest reasons why getting Russell Wilson. You needed somebody that was going to help you sell tickets, and somebody that was going to make the culture and this organization competitive. But unfortunately, that did not sail well. And we know Nate Hackett was not ready for the head coaching job, not even close, completely whiffing on so many different situational coaching matters. And then comes Sean Payton. And Sean makes Russell Wilson what he could be, which was 24 touchdowns, 8 picks, missed the playoffs because they sat him in the last 2 games because they weren't going to pay him the guarantee. And is like, I can't work with this. So Russell then goes to Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh looked like they were pretty good all up until the back half, and that's when everything collapsed. This game against Washington yesterday was just a complete embarrassment. Russell looked completely out of sync and not anything to get going on offense. It was just so bad. And what's worse about it is you got Malik Neighbors up over there pissed off, and there's nothing good to show for it. Russell was 17 of 37, 168 passing yards, no tutties, no picks, 2 sacks. He was sacked twice in the game. Now, I give credit to their defensive front for getting Jaden Daniels 3 times. But even with that, Jaden Daniels was able to throw the underneath stuff, which is what he works well with. Deebo Samuel. And when you look at Deebo, I mean, think about it. Many of those underneath stuff, Terry McLaurin had an okay day, but there wasn't any of those passes that were up and over the top to get him open. He only had 2 catches and 27 yards, but Deebo, 7 catches for 77 yards on top of the additional 1 carry for 19 yards and scored a touchdown. That's the only one. And that Giants offense was just completely out of sync. And I know the offensive line, they tried to fix it, but nobody was stepping up. Defensively, I mean, they held them to 21 points, but in the end, like, I thought I would have gotten more out of that Giants front than I anticipated. And that didn't end up working out well. So I was just utterly disappointed. And I think it would be time for Russell to just give it up, because this is not the same Russell Wilson that was on cruise control in Seattle. I think right now a lot of people are starting to see the awkward truth about Russell Wilson. And that right there yesterday just showed you and told you this ain't working. And I know a lot of people want to push out Jackson Dart. Many of you don't, because I get it, builds and all the rest of it. You want him to be built healthy. But that sometimes you either are playing to build a culture, like you're coaching, you're either doing one of 2 things. You're actually trying to build a culture and win the game, or you're coaching for your job. And it seems to me like Brian Dable just didn't figure that out, which was kind of disappointing on that end too. But it just goes to show you, New York media and everybody, they're just utterly pissed off. And I just say it's on the Mara family, because they have been so dysfunctional since Tom Coughlin left. And they haven't figured that out for years. It's been such a bad look. One of the underrated games I do want to get into a bit while we still got a couple minutes. Tampa and Atlanta. Michael Penix really looks like that kind of quarterback. He's slinging the ball and averaging 7 yards a pass. And not to mention, I mean, Baker Mayfield had only 167 passing yards, but 3 tutties in the middle of it, because Baker improvised a few times and Emeka Egbuka scored twice. The rookie ended up showing up, and then same thing with Bucky Irving. So they found ways to improvise. Michael Penix is every penny worth what you get. 27 of 42, 298 passing yards, a touchdown and a pick, or no picks, and a rating of 93. The difference in this game is that coaching staff didn't do any favors for Michael Penix. And this is what defensive coaches tend to be, is that whenever you get some sort of momentum up on offense, they tend to get defensive. They pull the reins back. And it's hard for a lot of these talented quarterbacks to really unleash themselves when you have a coach that does that. And I mean, Zach Robinson, I'm just looking at it. There were several spurts in which Michael Penix was slinging the ball left and right. Why are you going out routes? Why are you getting conservative at the worst time? Nobody could figure that out. And that's what was pissing off a lot of Falcons fans, because Penix is the future. And he looked great. That's why, like with the whole Kirk Cousins situation, I mean, they got their future. So it's kind of hard to pull that off. But I did not like the conservative play calling. I thought the game was underrated, because the Buccaneers came back and improvised in several different ways that they did. And amongst everything else, the Falcons and Michael Penix was able to get a lot of those targets. I mean, he was targeting Bijan 6 times for 100 yards in the air, including that long 50-yarder that he scored for a touchdown, which is what Bijan is about. Kyle Pitts gets 7 catches. Drake London's got 8. Could you imagine what Darnell Mooney would look like? This Falcons offense is good, but not when you're adjusting play calls that seem conservative. So that's what drove me crazy. But in the end, I like what I saw. I really liked what I saw out of Penix, but they got to get better with the play calling. They really, really, really do. I just think it was just outrageous. Lots and lots of games that were really good. By the way, I will get my top 10 teams tomorrow. Like I said, it's interchangeable. Every week, there's going to be new teams that are going to be moving up and some teams that are probably not even going to be considered up and into the top 10. So check that out up on our social medias and keep up with us here on the Snake Sports Talk Show to get involved with that. Well, thank you everybody for coming up and onto the show. Chase and myself as always. What a fun football week it is this. We got tonight's game, Minnesota and Chicago. I got money's worth up on Minnesota tonight. Figure out what Jason McCarthy. I know a lot of you are excited about that game in particular. So enjoy it. We appreciate you guys coming on by here, and stay tuned for the next episode of the Snake Sports Talk Show, guys. We'll see you soon.